Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the Hot Toys MMS 371 of the Sideshow exclusive Iron Man Mark 27, otherwise known as Disco. Now, if you've collected any of the other House Party Protocol suits, or have watched any of my reviews on them, you'll recognize that the package has a very uniform look to the ones that have come out previously. That's really nice, and I really do appreciate that, especially if you're a collector that likes displaying the boxes. These look really nice all together. And then you can see you got a really nice glossy image of the Mark 27 there in the background. On the back of the package, you got various contact information for Hot Toys and then several different warnings. The outer package is just the slip sleeve, and when you remove it, on the back of that box, you have the cast and crew responsible for making this figure, and then you have an open window display that allows you to fully see the figure as well as his accessories. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have the Iron Man Mark 27, otherwise known as Disco, opened up and out of its packaging. And really, the only thing new and unique about this suit is the color on him. A lot of the parts on here are reused from previously released Iron Man related figures. We'll take a look at that more in detail here in a little bit. But the color is really what is special about this, at least for me. As many of you know, if you've been following my reviews of Iron Man Hot Toy figures for a while, I really like the different color ones. Figures such as the Midas and Python, Silver Centurion, things like that, where the colors aren't necessarily what you would think of as classic Iron Man with the blue or the red and the gold. I like those, and that's why I really like the way this one looks. I think that it is very striking. I think it stands out in a collection of other Iron Man figures, and regardless of the fact that it utilizes a lot of the same parts from other Iron Man figures, I still think it looks absolutely terrific. It comes together very, very nicely. Now, starting off first with his accessories, much like all Hot Toy figures, he does come with his instruction sheet, which I do recommend going through. Even though Disco here utilizes a lot of elements that we've already seen before, it's never a bad idea to brush up on some of those pieces. Then, in addition to the two closed fists that are currently on the figure, he also comes with a right and left hand that are done up in the repulsor blast position, where the wrists are angled so you can get a nice kind of blasting pose with his actual hands. Much like all Hot Toy figures, they have a real nice paint detail on here. You can see some nice scratches and wear marks actually on there. Then on the inside here, you can see some nice silver paint for the actual joint work. Now, he also comes with a right and left articulated pair of hands, which, as you can see, don't have that same paint detail on the inside where the joints are, but you have the added bonus of being able to articulate the fingers and put them in any kind of position that you may want. Which, honestly, for me, is the go-to kind of display hands for all my Iron Man figures. And then also, you can see both of these pairs of hands have the clear repulsor lens right there in the actual palm. The fists actually do not have that. Now, he also does come with a pair of shoulder-mounted missile pods. These actual shoulder pods were already used in the Iron Man Mark 7. So you're already starting to see some of the reused parts that Disco here actually features. And we'll take a look at these and how they attach to the figure here in just a little bit. And then for his final accessory, you can see you got the nice display stand here that kind of looks like one of the rounded House Party Protocol armor sort of looks. Unfortunately, it doesn't light up or anything, and then you do get the adjustable cradle here, which allows you to kind of recreate, flying poses and things of that nature. You got the little clamp right here, you got foam on the back section as well as on the inside, which nicely protects the actual plastic and paint. Again, it's unfortunate that they don't include the smaller, just sliding crotch-grabbing display stands. I really wish that they would do that, especially when they give us something as large as this, because this is a big piece. But that doesn't seem like something that they're ever going to do for us. Now, coming in to take a closer look at the figure, again, much like a lot of figures that Hot Toy makes, the amount of detail on this is really quite impressive. The sculpt work on here is absolutely terrific. The paint detail really does pop. Everything on here looks really very nice. I love the kind of metallic look that they got, in the blue and the orange. Very, very unique. And like I was talking about, he does utilize a lot of parts that we already got. Starting off first here at the top, for the head, this is actually the head that came with the Mark II version of War Machine. Coming down to the rest of the body, as you can see here for the torso, this is the actual Mark VII which has also been used several other times. The arms here, though, as well as the hands, have been repainted from the recently released shotgun armor, but it also features the shoulder pads here that are part of the actual Mark VII itself. Then when you come down here to the legs, that also has been repurposed from the shotgun armor as well, but still real great looking detail. Again, paint just looks very, very sharp and crisp. You got some very minor scuffs throughout the whole thing, so not really battle damaged, but definitely some wear. You can see that kind of here on like his thighs and then on the outer section here. And then again, you got some real nice silver paint kind of thrown in there in some subtle areas. You come down here to the legs, and again, great detail with little thrusters here, some nice silver kind of added in there. You got some nice paneling on the inside. Again, you got some nice molded detail there. I love what they do with the joints and how that actually looks like it's part of the armor. Again, you come to the back of them, you obviously have these little air flaps that you could see in the beginning portion of the video. These can actually detach, and then that's where you bring in the missile pod version, and those just peg right on the side there. It's kind of hard to see. Let's see, get that there, right, sliding in there. Just like that. So in terms of creating a look, you can see that it opens it up and you have those little missile pods. Again, much like that Mark VII. And then some of the other features that the Mark VII also does kind of incorporate is these little side pieces right here can detach. These can also be removed to kind of create a different look for them. And then the actual chest piece can obviously pop off, showing off the inner details, and then a much closer look at the arc reactor. Obviously the arc reactor, the repulsors, and the eyes all light up, but because we've seen that before, I'm not going to go ahead and feature it here. The light up switch for the head is just underneath this panel. The light up switch for the arc reactor is actually on the back section here, and you can just flip that in. I mean, here, there, I turned it on for you. That's about it. And then for the actual arms, they're underneath this panel right here. So you just lift that up, install the batteries, and then you flip the switch. So again, a lot of those features that you saw in the Mark VII are again prominent here on this guy. I got to make sure that I put these in the right place. And then because it utilizes the same legs as the shotgun armor, a couple of the features that possesses are also here, such as having these little pieces kind of shift up, which just, I don't even honestly know what those are for, but they do it. And then you have all this extra articulation that's kind of put down here into the various flaps that kind of move out and allow you to get a much further range of motion with his actual ankles themselves. First articulation, again, because we have seen it before, it is very much the same. The head is on a ball joint, so you get a nice range of motion, kind of looks up about that far and looks down only about that far, so not a lot of downward motion. The neck joint here actually does kind of shift a little bit, but because of how the actual upper part of the torso is designed, it doesn't rotate really, so it just kind of shifts forward and back. The shoulders here move in and out just a little. They shift up and down here on that little armpit joint, and then they rotate all the way around, and then they move in and out just like so. He rotates at the upper part of the bicep. He's got two joints here at the elbow. It bends here once, and then you get an additional joint at the top section here, so you get a little bit more range of motion, so you can kind of shift that in just like that and then move that back down. These little pieces, as you could see, articulate up, kind of giving, like I said, the little air flap look. Depending on which hand you have, obviously this is the repulsor blast one, so all you're going to get is a little bit of a pivot side to side, and it rotates. If you have the articulated fingers, each one of those have a variety of joints so that you can move that in almost any kind of position that you want. The waist here, you can see, extends up, and then also can get a further range of motion by doing so. If you leave it connected all the way down, you only get a little bit of a rotation there. So lifting it up allows a further range of motion, and then it can also flex forward and back, which is really nice. These little kind of skirt pieces lift up just like so on the front, and then you also have another piece here on the back that kind of lifts up and gets out of the way, allowing you to move the legs about that far forward and then that far back, but you can also then extend it down, getting a further range of motion with it as well. It's on a bit of a ball joint, so you can also get some pivot and obviously a little bit of in and out motion as well. He does slightly rotate here at the upper part of the thigh. As you can see, it is a little bit more limited again because of the sculpt that's actually in the legs, but you get a little bit of outward motion, and because you got that big ball joint at the actual hip, it kind of helps to rotate that around a little bit more as well. He's got 2 joints here at the knee, so you can bend it there once, then you can bend it a little bit further back. And then the ankles, like I was showing you, get all these extra little pieces right here because the ankles can actually slide out a little bit, and then you can move it nice and forward, and then the toes also flex forward and back. You can kind of pivot side to side. So all the articulation that you could want, but it is fairly standard, and we have seen it many times before on a lot of Iron Man figures. A lot of people really like complaining about how many different Iron Man figures that we're constantly getting. As an Iron Man collector, it doesn't really bother me all that much, but I do understand the general gist of the complaint. While I understand it though, I don't necessarily agree with it. I think if they stopped production on all other figures and constantly kept giving us Iron Man figures, then yeah. But they're still giving us other figures from other lines, so I don't really mind it all that much. And like I said, I collect these. Disco here, while utilizing a lot of the elements from other Iron Man suits, as I said, does fit in with my kind of preferred look in terms of having unique colored suits. The blue and orange on here really do pop and look great. And the sculpt work, again, is really terrific. There are some things that I wish he did come with, however. Because he utilizes the torso for the Mark VII, I wish they included the pieces right here for his kind of oblique section, I guess. Same thing here with the shoulder cannons. If you remember that Mark VII, these pieces could detach, and then it came with extra pieces used to kind of show what it looks like when these particular panel pieces eject from the armor. Those are definitely little pieces that I wish were included here with Disco, but I still like them nonetheless. Amongst Iron Man collectors, there kind of are 2 groups. The ones that kind of just want the main armors, and then the group that I fall in, the one that want all the armors. So I definitely think that the people that this figure are going to appeal to are people like myself. I don't think that this is going to sell very well amongst casual Iron Man fans or hot toy collectors themselves, which is why I'm glad that this was released as an exclusive. It originally was I think it was like a Toy Fair exclusive over in Hong Kong, and then it's available exclusively here in the United States through Sideshow, which also contributes to the $250 price tag. That is kind of a higher price point for just a plastic Iron Man figure. For about $50 more, we can get a die-cast one, but that $250 makes up the cost of the figure, as well as importing it over here as an exclusive piece. But I really do like them. If you're one of those Iron Man collectors that gets all the suits, this is definitely one that you want to have added to your collection. So if that's you, he is available at Sideshow Collectibles. So all you have to do for that is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to Sideshow where you can check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the Hot Toy Iron Man figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been optibotimus. Don't forget that if you like this video, to please like and share it. Also, be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. That way you'll get emails and you'll never miss an upcoming video. And as always, until next time, I'll talk to you later.